Hi friends! I'm so excited because I'm finally seeing today Late Night with the Devil. I couldn't be more excited. I've heard a lot about this film and I'm really hoping it lives up to the hype. Usually I can gauge because I get a lot of people who love films that I might not necessarily love, talk about how great they are, and then a lot of people who undersell films. So I'm really excited to see if I actually like this film, if it lives up to all the hype it's been getting. Fun fact, this film is actually considered an Australian film. It was filmed in Melbourne and it was written and directed by Australians. Even though we're getting it so late, I'm seeing it tonight and it's an advanced screening by 2 weeks anyway. The film is about a live television broadcast from 1977 that goes horribly wrong, unleashing evil into the nation's living rooms. I am lucky enough to have not had anything spoiled. Some people did talk about a scandal to do with AI art in this film, so I'm gonna keep an eye out for that, but I have no idea what's meant to happen. I avoided all trailers. They tried to play it last night for me when I went and saw Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2. If you haven't checked that video out, please do. I sacrificed a lot for you guys. This film is written and directed by a brother duo, and they're known for the Australian horror films Scare Campaign and 100 Bloody Acres. I can't wait to see the stylization, particularly for this film tonight, and there's only one way to find out. I'm gonna let you know whether it's worth your time and whether you should go check it out in cinemas if you haven't yet, or if you can just wait until streaming. I'm going to walk tonight because I'm going to a cinema that's not too far away from me, so it's gonna be a little bit of a different video, but it's gonna be exciting. So let's go. Good evening, friends. Thanks for tuning in. I just got back from watching Late Night with the Devil. My God, I was glued to the screen. I haven't had a cinema experience like that in so long, when I just didn't know what was coming next. And honestly, I didn't care because what I was watching unravel in front of me was just so fun and interesting and exciting. And this felt like such a marriage of a lot of things I really love and I'm personally interested in within film. So this was such a great experience for me. And I'm gonna show you guys, I am not lying. This is my favorite book. I have a bunch of like occult, Magician Among the Spirits, which is a very good Houdini book about people who are skeptic, about others who are psychic and show those kinds of abilities. And this movie attacks that subject in such an interesting and fun way. The whole time I was watching this movie, I had a smile on my face, and when there wasn't a smile on my face, I was jaw-dropped, shocked, and I just soaked up every moment. I absolutely adored it. The movie is about a late night host, and we get this really nice narration into the film about his backstory before we're given an opportunity to sit and watch, just like a viewer would at home watching a program. It's kind of like a found footage film, really. We're watching a tape of a infamous late night show hosted by Jack. And Jack is determined to make this show, which is a Halloween special, as spooky as ever for the ratings. And he brings in people from across the board to do with the psychic and spiritual phenomena to see if he can really spike those ratings. The stylization was one of the funnest parts of this film. If you've ever seen Ghostwatch, it probably already sounds like Ghostwatch to you. I think this would be such a great double viewing with that film if you didn't know about Ghostwatch. It is very similar in its setup and I adore that film, and I know a lot of you guys do too. And I felt the essence of that while watching this film, but this one is set in the 70s. I do want to talk a little bit about the stylization before we go into tone, which really sets these films apart. The stylization of this film being in the 70s, it was really interesting because with any special effects that they could put on the film, they had almost, I don't want to say an excuse, but a fun way to display it that it would have been displayed back then. So I thought that tied in really well. The costumes were great. The set design was perfect, especially being on a television set with the audience and then being able to utilize that in different ways. It's a small, confined space and you can really feel that and feel the energy. The way that the film is set up, it is like you're a viewer watching at home, but I felt like I was an audience member watching it unravel. It unravels in real time-esque. Obviously not as one take, but it really sucks you into the situation because it feels like you're there. When the audience clapped, you know, they get the applause sign. I wanted to clap too. I felt myself stopping. I don't know what it was. This film just really sucked me in. It was hypnotic. And with the stylization and what they were able to do with some practical effects, but then also some dated effects that worked well with the stylization, they really kept the tone lighthearted, and it was a very awkward kind of balance of goofy, funny, and then scary. And because it's got the 70s edge and 70s humor, it worked in such a unique way. I felt like it was very self-aware of when it was cheesy and goofy and kooky, and it was able to kind of tie both those worlds together. I know a lot of people have troubles when there are such extreme tonal shifts from something really funny to something scary, but the way that this film sucks the viewer in and sucked me in, it just worked so well. I find that there are parts in horror movies where a lot of people laugh because they're scared, and this film, it towed that line so carefully where it would be a funny reaction to something that was kind of horrific, and because of the 70s stylization, it just worked as both at the same time, and I thought that was truly unique. The lead, David Dastmalchian, I hope I'm saying his name right, was superb. I just thought he was really well suited to the late night host. He really commands the audience, and there is no internal dialogue or anything that needs to be really said. I believe his character was really well written, but I think it was a testament to his acting ability as well, because there's so much said just by a couple of glimpses and reactions from him and nothing more. Another thing I absolutely loved about this film is it was really straightforward. You were only there for one night as an audience member and it didn't expect anything else from you. The film plays out kind of like a mystery, but it is just spooky fun that is funny, smart, and unique, and I really enjoyed it. I do think that has a lot to do with my personal fascination for a lot of what was displayed, but it also had so many different characteristics that I personally love in horror movies, and I'll leave that up to you to find out. I don't want to spoil anything. Overall, I really adored this film, and I can definitely see why there's hype for this. It has such a unique feel, and it doesn't dumb down the audience. It lets you go along for a fun and shocking ride, and with the practical effects and the callback to the 70s stylization, I think a lot of people find the nostalgic factor within that, especially it being tied to a broadcast that is on Halloween night. What's not to love? If I do have to say anything negative, a little bit of cheesy acting, but it's like the 70s kind of style, especially overacting as the backstage behind the scenes footage. They're really hamming it up as like 70s producers. And I did feel misled a couple of times with where the story was weaving. I think that was me just trying to read into too many clues because I was really intrigued and wanted to try and understand. And I was really hanging off any detail they were saying. I was going through all of the theories in my mind, which is not unusual for me. I would really recommend seeing Late Night with the Devil at the cinema, but I do think it will work well at home as well, especially because it is meant to be mimicking a live broadcast. It's a mockumentary, kind of found footage. So I do think it will work on a TV naturally, but I really enjoyed watching it in a crowd, especially because that cinema, I was really scared. Everyone was talking, kerfuffling before it started. As soon as that film started, you could hear a pin drop. And if you can't get to a cinema, make sure to definitely check it out as soon as you can stream it and make up your own mind. If you're into 70s nostalgic films and you like mockumentaries, and especially if you're a big fan of Ghost Watch, I think that you'll find some fun in this film. And if you're into Satanic Panic, it's got you covered. I'm gonna give this one a 9 out of 10. I'm doing it. Fuck it, I'm doing it. I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed it with its intent and self-awareness. I got it. And I normally give 9s as well to films that I have a personal attachment to, and I just really love this subject matter, so it gets that extra point. I was going for an 8 and I was going in between. I'm going for it. It's a 9 for me. It is my favorite horror movie that I've seen this year thus far. For scare, this is really hard because I did gasp a couple of times and I was really holding onto my chair, but I think it was because I was just so enthralled by the film. I would probably give it a 5 out of 10 for scare. And for originality, I'm going to give it a 7. We've seen mockumentary style like this before. I just really think the tone is what sets this film apart. The self-awareness, I know I've said that about 5 times already, and the stylization all together with this story. I think it's a great idea, and it came at the perfect time when we were getting over watching the same crap over and over again. This film was a breath of fresh air for me. Anyway, that is it. I finally saw Late Night with the Devil. Make sure you're subscribed because I have a bunch of videos coming up next week. Also, while you're watching this, I might have started my Stabathon, which is a marathon, streaming marathon over on Twitch with Texas Chainsaw Massacre. If you have Twitch, if you want to check it out, that's always linked down below, and I'll talk to you all very soon. Stay safe and stay spooky. Bye, friends.